Hi, and welcome back to the channel. Here, I share Scareful stories. Stories to make you a little scared, make you think, make you wonder, and maybe, just maybe, make you a little more careful. If you like what you see today, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, and consider subscribing to the channel. I know it's kind of dorky, and my channel is still really small, so every subscriber counts, and I am truly grateful for each and every one of you who has subscribed over the last few years. And now, on to the Scareful story of Dr. Helen Sanchez. This case is pretty recent. It happened in December of 2025, and honestly, it's one of those stories that raises more questions than we will probably ever get answers to. Who was Dr. Sanchez? Dr. Sanchez was just 32 years old. She's an anesthesiologist from Nicaragua who specialized in congenital heart disease. She was the mother of 2 children, a devoted doctor who had dedicated her life to bringing hope and healing to countless children and families. On her visit in Miami, she walked into a Dollar Tree store in Little Havana on Saturday, December 13th, and never left the store. The next morning, she was found dead, naked, inside the walk-in freezer at the back of the store.
This Dollar Tree store here in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood is now open, but for many hours early today, it was completely closed as police officers were investigating after they found the body of a woman inside a freezer right inside the store.
So let's get into the things we know about what happened that night. According to the Miami police, Dr. Sanchez entered the Dollar Tree, located at 968 Southwest 8th Street, sometime on Saturday evening before the store closed. She didn't buy anything, though. She walked in and then never walks out. Police say that surveillance footage shows her walking into the store and then making her way to an employee-only restricted area in the back, where the walk-in freezer was located. At some point during the night, she ended up inside the freezer. Exactly how, we don't know. Although the police do report that she was not forced inside the freezer and went in voluntarily. So obviously there's some amount of footage that we don't explicitly know about, and obviously that the police don't quite understand, like, what was her motive for going in there. The next morning, on Sunday, December 14th, at around 8 a.m., a Dollar Tree employee arrived to open the store and made a horrifying discovery. They found Dr. Sanchez's body inside the freezer. She was naked and unresponsive. The employee called 911, and dispatchers could be heard on police scanners saying, and I quote, "Complainant found a naked female in the cooler of the store." Now, it's kind of weird that she was naked, although if you've ever heard of anyone experiencing hypothermia, there's something that's called paradoxical undressing, and it's where your body gets so cold that it actually feels to the person like they're burning up. And so oftentimes you'll hear stories of hikers, people out in the woods, who are found naked, and you think, well, if they were freezing, why would they be naked? But it's actually a reaction in your body that makes you feel very, very hot, and plus you're disoriented, and so you end up taking your clothes off. So that's about all we found out at the time back in December with the reporting, was that the police were reporting that Dr. Sanchez was found dead in the freezer, and we weren't given a whole lot more information other than that. Foul play wasn't suspected, that they said she entered the freezer voluntarily, so they must have had surveillance of that. But then we do find out more details when a wrongful death lawsuit was filed on January 29th of 2026 by Dr. Sanchez's family. The lawsuit names both the Dollar Tree store and the store manager as defendants, and Dr. Sanchez's family is seeking damages in excess of $50 million. And when we get into what the lawsuit alleges, it just becomes a little crazy. According to the complaint, the store manager was placed on notice that Dr. Sanchez was missing and had not left the store. Now, they make it sound in the reporting like a customer goes in and reports that Dr. Sanchez is missing. I can only assume this is somebody like a friend of Dr. Sanchez or a family member of hers who knew she had gone in the store to go shopping and that she hadn't come out, or at least they hadn't seen her come out. So you could imagine if you go with your mom to the store and your mom goes in the store while you wait in the car and your mom never comes out, you're going to be wondering what in the world happened. And you're going to go in the store and you're going to be looking for your mom. And at the point that maybe you don't see her and you go back out and you don't see her anywhere and you're calling her cell phone and she's not answering or whatever's happening, you would think that, right, at some point you would go back in the store and say, hey, do you have surveillance footage? Well, apparently this is what happens. We don't know exactly who it was who went in, but somebody, according to the lawsuit, requested to review the surveillance footage, and the manager refuses. And not only does the complaint say that the manager refused, but that the manager also affirmatively instructed the Dollar Tree employee not to review the surveillance footage. So does that mean that it wasn't just that? Because I can kind of see where if you worked at the store, you wouldn't maybe let customers, just anybody, walk in and be able to view the footage, but you'd think you could run through it yourself. Although I don't know what time frame we're talking about. Was it an hour of footage? Was it 3 hours worth of footage? Because we don't have good reporting on the exact time she walked in the store and what time this customer or this family member or friend comes in and says, hey, this woman's missing and I know she came in here. Would you mind checking the footage? But it's kind of surprising that they wouldn't run through the footage at all, or at the very least, make a quick run around the store, which begs the question, did they go look around the store, but it never even occurred to them to check the freezer? Because why would somebody walk into a freezer? So we don't have pictures of what that freezer looks like, what the door looks like, if there was any way that Dr. Sanchez could have been confused and ended up in a freezer. You know, she opened the door thinking it was something else, but even if you were thinking it was a bathroom, the minute you opened the door, you would know it's not a bathroom. So it just feels really odd, guys, and there's just so many questions. But sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. So let's just get back to this about the manager. Somebody comes in and says that their friend or their family member is missing and that they were definitely in the store. And so it's hard to believe that nobody at the dollar store would just agree to go and view the surveillance footage or let them review it, if that could help them figure out at least what time the person left the store. So that's something that's in the complaint. And then the lawsuit also goes on to allege failures on the part of Dollar Tree, that the store breached its duty of care by allowing Dr. Sanchez to enter the freezer without warning her of any potential dangers. So they must know that maybe there's no sign on the door. It may say employees only, but it might not say that the door is to a freezer or that the door will lock behind you and you won't be able to get out. But that leads us to another allegation in the complaint, which is that it alleges that the freezer itself was faulty and lacked basic safety mechanisms that could have prevented this tragedy by having something as simple as an emergency release on the inside or a latch or an alarm system that would prevent people from becoming trapped in the freezer. That just seems pretty basic for any store in 2026. You'd think a walk-in freezer would definitely have some kind of safety mechanism. So was there a safety mechanism and it just wasn't working that day, and employees knew it wasn't working and yet they continued to allow people to access the freezer? Or was there a safety mechanism, it actually was working, and Dr. Sanchez just wasn't aware of it, was disoriented, and couldn't figure out how to work it? That's really hard to say. The lawsuit also claims that the Dollar Tree failed to properly monitor surveillance footage and didn't ensure that employees were trained to confirm that all customers had exited the store before closing. And perhaps most damning, it alleges that even after being placed on notice that Dr. Sanchez was missing and that they possibly hadn't exited the store and its manager failed to take reasonable action to locate or assist her. Now, as far as the police investigation goes, Miami police told the media that the case was being investigated as an unclassified death. The spokesperson said, and I quote, "We're not sure the state of mind of that woman. We're not sure if she intentionally went into the freezer on her own will or if it was something completely accidental. One Miami officer confirmed that there was no foul play suspected at this time and that it remained an ongoing investigation. Police did say that they had obtained surveillance footage that shows Dr. Sanchez in the minutes before she entered the freezer, although that video has not been publicly released. Authorities also confirmed that mental illness was not a factor in Dr. Sanchez's death and that she was not forced inside the freezer. But that leaves us with the massive question of why. Why would a 32-year-old doctor, a mother of two, walk into an employee-only area and enter the walk-in freezer? Was she looking for something? Did she think it was a bathroom? Was she disoriented or confused? Or was there just some other reason that we just don't understand? And the sad part is we will probably never get an answer to that question. And then there's the question of exactly how did she get trapped in the freezer? Walk-in freezers are supposed to have the safety mechanisms. And so again, was that something that was malfunctioning, or was she just not able to figure out how to use it because she was disoriented? Dr. Sanchez's family has set up a GoFundMe page to help raise money to bring her body back to Nicaragua and to give her a proper funeral. The page describes her as a devoted doctor and a beloved mother, saying that her compassion, skill, and commitment to saving young lives defined both her career and her character. It goes on to add that her strength, warmth, and unwavering love for her family will always be remembered. Family members were seen outside the Dollar Tree on the Sunday morning when her body was found, waiting behind crime scene tape for answers as detectives continued their investigation. Dollar Tree released a brief statement after the incident saying, "We are aware of this tragic incident and our thoughts are with the individual's family and loved ones. We are cooperating fully with the authorities at this time." And that's all they've said publicly. As for what happens next, the lawsuit demands a trial by jury, and Dr. Sanchez's estate, which includes her father, her husband, and her 2 children, is seeking damages in excess of $50 million. But beyond the money, I think they're just trying to get answers. They want to know why this happened. They want to know why their wife, their mother, their daughter ended up dead in that freezer. And they want to make sure that something like this never happens to anyone else. So what do you guys think happened? I'm just really torn as I wonder, was she having some type of confusion or medical crisis that led her into the freezer? Was she trying to hide from somebody? Was she suffering from something that made her want to seek out closed-in spaces? I know that sounds really weird, but I've actually heard of that before. But they do add that, there was no mental illness related to this. I'm not sure how they would know that, except that perhaps just the family is reporting that she had no known mental illnesses. But that doesn't mean that people can't have just anxiety and they are worried about something and they end up somewhere where they're not supposed to be and sort of like a panic attack. It's just really hard to tell. And I just keep coming back to why? Why would she end up in there? And obviously the employees of the store didn't think there was any chance she would be in there, or I'm sure they would have gone and checked. But why would they think she had accessed an employee-only part of the store, much less a freezer? There's just so much we still don't know. Mainly, how did she end up in the freezer and why did she end up in the freezer? Did she have her cell phone with her? Did she try to make calls? Was it impossible to get any kind of signal in the freezer? Was it that the walls were too thick? Were there signs that she tried to get out and just nobody heard her screams for help? Was there something about the way that was designed that she could have just accidentally ended up in there? It just is all so strange. So let me know what you think down below. Do you think this was a tragic accident, or do you think there was negligence involved, or even some kind of foul play the police aren't seeing? And what do you think about the allegations made against the store and the manager specifically, that they were put on notice that Dr. Sanchez was missing and yet refused to review the surveillance footage? This is one of those cases where I feel like we're only seeing part of the picture and that there are so many unanswered questions. And unfortunately, normally we never get answers. I really hope that as the lawsuit moves forward and that as the investigation continues, the family will get at least some of the answers that they deserve. So that's the story, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe, stay careful, and stay warm. Thanks. Bye.